Next,
I couldn't imagine having to do it completely on my own.
personal stories of inspiration and determination.
Well, you kind of see the big picture, you know, what's important and what's not important.
As children and their families face the weight of the world.
Yesterday was the day that we found out that he was approved to be put on the transplant list, so now we just wait.
A hospital with big expansion ideas to help more kids.
This spring, we were turning away some children from our ICUs just because we didn't have enough beds. And that's not right. It clearly is not right.
It's all sorts of emotions.
For the next half hour,
I've known this place for such a long time.
how you can help with the mission.
Donate now and put your money where the miracles are.
From WOWT NBC Omaha and CAT 103.7, tune in for Kids, a fundraiser for Children's Hospital and Medical Center. Presented by Jersey Mike Subs. Coming to you live from Children's Hospital in Omaha. Here's Brian Mastre.
Good evening and welcome. We are live from the atrium here at Children's Hospital and Medical Center. The phone banks are being manned as we speak. Our radio partners are right back here. We'll get to them in just a little bit. Well, this is one of those places where you cannot be turned away if you cannot afford to pay. That's where some of the money goes that we've been raising all day. But there's also something you'll find here that money cannot buy: compassion. And we begin tonight. Let's meet Nurse Claudia.
Let's find him. He just got here.
It's one of those jobs that can wear you down
Everybody in the room has to wear a mask.
if you allow it.
Labeling his tubes, I'm gonna put his blood in. So lab can run this for us. So we know what to do with his chemo today.
Claudia Besco
I've been a nurse at Children's for 35 years. Are you ready for me?
works with kids and cancer.
They don't dwell on sadness. Everything's good here. You know, if they have a bad day and it doesn't last long, then we're back to laughing and kidding around. I knew you were going to have Packers clothes on today.
On this morning, she cleans the port of 10-year-old Garrett Scholes. It's for his medicine, his chemotherapy.
Has your port been working good?
On average, the hematology oncology clinic team at Children's Hospital sees 25 patients a day.
There are days when it is heavy, and when you go home, you know, my kids are all grown now, but when I had kids at home, it was like they might get an extra hug that night.
How are you?
Good, I've missed you.
Kidney cancer brought Nurse Claudia and Paul Hayes together.
When I was 9 years old, I met her.
He's 13 now.
So what's with the pink shoes?
They're for breast cancer awareness. I've had them for like a year.
Have ya? Cool. Well, I'm going to find Dr. Lois because she's waiting to see you.
Okay.
And I'll see you before you leave. Sound good?
Yep.
Anything else?
Nope. Thank you.
You're welcome. Did you bring pizza for lunch?
I wish.
All sorts of emotions. Just kind of waiting.
Paul and his mom and dad are anxious. What will the results of the latest scan show?
This is the longest we've gone since he's been diagnosed with a scan. He used to do them every 3 months, and so his last one was in January.
Hello. How are you?
After hearing his chest x-ray and ultrasound of his kidney are fine from the doctor, Paul Hayes cuts to the chase.
So everything's good?
Yeah, everything's great. Your blood counts are normal. Kidney looks like it's behaving itself. So, yeah. So this is good. This is good.
It was the news they'd been hoping to hear. Soon attention turns back to Nurse Claudia.
There were some rough times, and she helped them get through, helped us all.
And her recovery.
I was diagnosed with breast cancer in March. How'd you feel about that game Sunday?
She applied her uplifting bedside manner to herself.
Just because I know a lot of kids that have cancer, I mean, that doesn't mean I shouldn't get it. It's just life.
Was driving the helicopter.
It didn't take long for the youngsters to learn she too was a cancer patient.
I was a little sad knowing that she took care of me, but then I realized she's a really strong person and then she'd get through it.
I had a little girl say, when I walked in the room, she said, "Where's your hair?" And I said, "Well, I had treatment just like you and my hair fell out." She said, "But you work here." It's all coming back.
This is the first I've seen her since I knew she had cancer. And it's like, "What, you going to my barber now?" She just started laughing. But no, it's good to see her.
Her patients offered support and kind notes collected in this scrapbook.
I got a lot of hugs, a lot of prayers, a lot of well wishes.
Paul Hayes wrote, "I know things can never give you the fun and memories you have given me, so for that, I thank you."
You kind of see the big picture, you know, what's important and what's not important. And so, but, you know, the good days outweigh the bad days, you know, 1,000,000 to 1. I think that's the most important thing, is helping other people.
Nurse Claudia took 12 weeks off for chemotherapy and surgery. Now, if you notice in that video, all the flamingos in the scrapbook, where flamingos are her thing. And she tells me in October she's taking a trip with her sisters to Florida, where she will get a flamingo tattoo. Warmest wishes to Claudia, Paul, as well as Garrett in that story. Well, today is Thursday, but every Wednesday afternoon, patients here get a diversion, and a 3-year-old is responsible for it.
No, they just said there was.
It's day 48 for Jake Alexander at Children's Hospital. He turned 12 in this room. And when we talked with him, the Ralston kid just found out
I'm on a list for a heart transplant.
Days earlier, Jake passed out near his locker during a get-to-know-your-middle school day. What doctors had once thought could be fixed by a surgery now requires a new heart.
As scary as it is, the idea of getting a heart transplant, the idea that anything could just happen to him at any moment, I mean, that's way worse.
So Jake waits, along with his mom and older sister.
He can't get rid of me now. I'm up here every day.
Any distraction is welcome.
And I help kids who are sick get to the hospital quickly and safely.
Every Wednesday afternoon, he gets one.
We have adhesive bandage.
Those who are able come to the auditorium for hospital bingo. But the majority of the kids are like Jake, who get a bingo card and watch the video feed from their room.
Our next one is PPE. It stands for personal protective equipment, and we don't want any germs to be spread while you're at the hospital. You have a first bingo!
If you get a bingo, you call the auditorium.
We got our first bingo from our friend Kyle in the infusion center. Woo!
Our phone's broken.
Jake wasn't fast enough. Someone else won. He or she will get to pick a prize from this cart, Briley's Heart Cart. In 2008, Andy and Sarah Hall donated the cart to Children's Hospital in honor of their 3-year-old daughter, Briley. Her memory floats through the children and their rooms every week.
Your third bingo, congratulations. We will bring the prize card up to you once the game's over.
Now, Briley first heard about the heart cart when she was, about hospital bingo when she was at a hospital in St. Louis. By the way, Jake, who is waiting for the heart, we talked to him about a month ago. We are pleased to report that he has received his new heart. And I'm told just yesterday, while he's recovering in his room, he was playing hospital bingo and he won a prize. His phone call went through just fine.
Coming up on Tune In for Kids.
Are you ready to move on from the Children's Hospital, or is this home for you? Do you want to stay?
Why there's a push to welcome certain adults into a children's hospital.
It was scary to think that I was bringing home a vent-dependent baby, that I was a young mom. I really didn't know anything about medical needs.
In some cases, the children's nurses come to you. Plus, we'll go behind the scenes with the kids and 6 News team during the promotional spots.
Awesome!
See, then you can crop that and crop her out if you want.
You did.
Nice.
When Tune In for Kids returns.
You're watching WOWT NBC Omaha. Our live coverage continues from Children's Hospital and Medical Center. Tune In for Kids, a fundraiser in connection with the Children's Miracle Network. At this hour, as our live coverage continues here from the atrium, we have a lot of people manning the phone. We have the Junior Optimists of Norfolk back here, Red Basket with Woodman, Zurich, Sons of American Legion. Thanks to all of you that are taking part. We certainly appreciate it. The number is up on the screen for you to call. Now, many of us are familiar with the number of doctors that are spread across the metro in the children's clinics. But did you know there are 28 families where the hospital comes to you?
So Jackson, we're going to bake some brownies today. All right.
Families come in all shapes and sizes.
All right, so let's read our directions here.
Jackson Delancey understands that better than most of us.
Okay, so then we're going to stir brownie mix, oil, water, and eggs. Whoa! Like we say, if you're not making a mess, you're not doing it right. That's right.
Since he was born 15 years ago.
And how many eggs? 2 eggs.
Every day while his mom works.
All right, this is Jackson's favorite part, the eggs.
And every night while he sleeps.
We'll just stir with the fork today, or do you want the blender? Fork's fine.
A nurse is by his side.
Jackson is completely ventilator dependent, and so somebody has to be awake with him 24/7.
His medical needs are complex. Today as nurse is Tammy Christofferson.
She was one of the original nurses, and she's been with us ever since.
And without this community, we wouldn't be having a home that is completely designed for Jackson.
We first met Jackson in 2009 when he was 8. Friends and strangers in Bennington raised money to help build a wheelchair-accessible home for the family. At that time, the reason his muscles weren't working wasn't clear to doctors. It is now.
Nemaline myopathy.
It's a rare genetic muscle disorder.
I couldn't imagine having to do it completely on my own.
It isn't getting worse.
We have 12 nurses on our team.
But it isn't getting better either.
Cognitively, he's perfectly fine. He's like any other 15-year-old.
Which comes through.
The world tells you that if you depend on anyone, you are weak, but the world has it all wrong.
When the high school sophomore reads.
Good job. You ready to check the brownies?
The brownies Jackson and Nurse Tammy made are now ready. Because of his ventilator, he cannot eat what he just made.
What do you think?
For somebody who can't eat orally,
Is that
good? Like he's always loved the cooking channel.
Before we left, Jackson Delancey showed us how he drives his wheelchair with his thumb and operates his computer with his eyes. The night before, he wrote these 4 sentences about Nurse Tammy. I think Tammy is special because she is like a second mom to me. Tammy is family and I love her with all my heart. Thank you for taking care of me. It's really more than just a job, it's family. In fact, Jackson and his mom went to Colorado and took Tammy along for the ride. As we mentioned at the beginning, CAT 103, our radio partners, they've been out here since 6 a.m. Gina Melton joins us now live. This is your 14th year of doing this. What inspires you to do this?
It's the kids, it's the families, it's all about that. You know, it's amazing that we have this treasure here in this city, Brian. You know, people drive by this hospital every day and maybe they don't know the stories that go on in here. You're sharing those stories right now on WWT, some amazing stories. And, you know, my son went here a couple of years ago and I just can't believe that we have this treasure here in the city. We're very fortunate.
Well, thanks for what you guys are doing too. You're here tomorrow live as well as on Saturday as well, so keep up the good work.
Thank you very much.
As we head to the break, update on one of the kids we featured a year ago in Tune In for Kids. Sophia Norrie starts 2nd grade in Minnesota after Labor Day. She has what's commonly called brittle bones disease. When we met her last year for Tune In for Kids, she told us she had broken more than 50 bones in her life. She's recovering from a fall right now. But due to groundbreaking surgeries at Children's Hospital, she's able to have more mobility and a higher quality of life than many expected. For example, here she is with her swimming medal after winning her age group in the 50-meter freestyle. You're watching Tune In for Kids, a fundraiser for Children's Hospital and Medical Center. Last year at this time, the relatively new heart transplant program had performed 10 heart transplants. Here's an update on heart transplant patient number 8. Iggy Borer turns 2 in November. Iggy, whose heart was undeveloped and needed a transplant, is now walking. Her mom tells me she tries to climb her twin brother, but not yet accomplishing it. However, she's figuring out multiple syllable words faster than her brother, such as basketball. What a great progress report. I'm sure she'll be dominating her brother shortly. Well, while young hearts are top of mind here, experts had a good problem to tackle. Kids who are living longer because of science.
When I was 11, I had a hole in my heart, and then I had 2 leaking valves. So do I just leave it blank then?
Danae Sneed has been coming here since she had shortness of breath in 5th grade gym class.
I've known this place for such a long time. Let's go.
These days, she sometimes gets double takes during check-in, especially if her daughters aren't with her. After all, she's 27 years old and a patient at Children's Hospital.
I just kept coming, and I mean, the looks I got was a little bit more goofy as I got older.
It used to be when young heart patients became young adults, they'd be transferred to another hospital for care, a place that deals with adults.
You can imagine, especially with kids with really complex heart disease, the bond that gets formed between the pediatric cardiologist, the family, and the patient is incredibly strong. And it's very difficult for patients to move on.
We can walk to the pool.
But Danae, as a young woman, can now stay if she chooses. Children's Hospital, in conjunction with the University of Nebraska Medical Center, formed an adult congenital heart disease program.
I knew that I wanted to take care of adults and children.
It allows the team to not only care for Danae Sneed of Glenwood, but her daughter Ava as well.
You're hot? It's okay, we'll be out of here soon. She has right ventricle failure, so she doesn't have the right side, the right ventricle. It's there, but it wasn't functioning, it wasn't doing anything. She will have another surgery. And just since she does have half a heart, she just has to learn her body and know her limits, just like I did. Hi, Eva.
Restraint isn't something 2-year-olds handle well. It used to be an adult heart program wasn't as critical, but anymore, young patients are living a lot longer.
In the 50s and 60s, really less than 20 to 40% of children made it into adulthood with serious congenital heart disease. And because of the advances in medical care, surgeries, all the things that we can do, devices, we now have patients that for the first time ever are living into their 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th decades of life.
Ava.
Encouraging words for the Sneed family, where 2 of the 3 girls, Mom and Ava, have heart issues.
High five. Give me a high five. Woohoo! We have matching scars. Yes. And Ellie actually always says, she's like, well, why don't I have one? I go, you don't want one. It's not, it's our battle wounds, and it shows that we're tough, but you're tough too in your own way.
Last time I saw you, you were having some headaches.
It's a type of program where Dr. Angie Yetman can chat with one patient while the little one plays hairdresser.
All summer I've been completely fine, and I don't know if it's just like my allergies coming back.
Your echo looks very good.
Don't touch.
A place where adults fit in among the kids.
I've known them for such a long time, and then now with Ava, it makes me more comfortable being here.
2016 saw one major change here at Children's. After 29 years, CEO Gary Perkins retired. Now there's new leadership. 10 months into his new job as president and CEO of Children's Hospital, Dr. Rich Aziz Khan has already moved forward with expansion plans.
There were lots of children that had very complicated problems that were actually not being treated here, that should be treated here, in part because our capacity had been reached. We're full almost all the time.
By 2021, Children's Hospital will have doubled its size. The green space between the hospital and Dodge Street will be the new home for a tower. The neonatal intensive care unit will move into the new tower. The hospital will also add intensive care units, operating rooms, and highlight the new paradigm for treating congenital heart disease.
We could actually take a good organization and truly make it a great organization going forward.
Children's will also renovate the Gold Building on the west side of 84th Street, currently HDR's headquarters, to create more space for research and education. After all is said and done, the thinking is
we're going to be recognized as one of the top 20 healthcare institutions for pediatrics.
Last year, Tune In for Kids raised more than $291,000. As we head to the break, another update on a kid from last year that we featured. Caden McGee has not been back to the hospital for illness since our cameras watched him leave Children's Hospital last summer. That's great news considering the little boy with a lifelong heart issue had been here nearly 2 years before going home to Des Moines. His mother says Warrior Caden, their miracle kid, continues to write the book on how to care for him. Tune In for Kids, a fundraiser for Children's Hospital and Medical Center. For those who donate their time, energy, and resources to issues that are important to them, we thank you for that. If this happens to be one of those issues, we appreciate that too.
Thanks to Children's, I'm back on the field.
From Paul offering his respect to the people who saved him,
Hey, Jack. Nice wheel.
Thanks, Cerise.
to Jack and the others who shared their infectious spirit while we shot the commercials.
Nice shot.
The Graces of the world and the Peters,
The Megas are the best.
all of them wanted to say thank you.
The offer stands if you want to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and come take my job.
It's not clear if Peter has put in his resume yet. Again, we appreciate you joining us all afternoon, and thank you for this half-hour special. Tune in for kids. You can still call right now if you'd like. We'll see you next time.